Hey, Dan Passarelli here. I was thinking about this whole interest rate thing and the economy and the labor market and the Fed. I know I talk about it all the time, but I had a thought. And this thought took me back to 2018. This is something that I said in 2018 and in 2019. So we spend a lot of time thinking about and talking about why does the market really care so much about cutting interest rates? Is that going to make the economy do so much better when arguably up until recently we've been able to say very confidently it's been doing well? We've had that conversation. It's getting a little bit tired. I think if you dig a little deeper and go back past the typical boundaries of that trader short-term memory, because traders stereotypically have short-term memories, and we think about the narrative back in 2018 and 19, what people were talking about is that if interest rates, because remember they were about zero then, if interest rates got up above 3%, now this is when interest rates were kind of just starting to think about climbing and such, right? Whether the Fed should raise them and all that. If interest rates got above 3%, and what we're really specifically talking about here are treasury yields, okay? Not necessarily the federal funds rate, but treasury yields. If they got above 3%, that would tank the stock market because there would then be an alternative investment, right? An arguably riskless investment, U.S. Treasuries, that would pay you 3%. Now, if they're paying 2% or 1%, or they've gotten down to a real rate, inflation indexed of close to zero, that's kind of not a great investment. And so the market investors kind of got forced into the stock market because that was the only game in town. It was the only thing that could make you some money. And so that kind of drove up stock prices, and it led to what we called at the time asset inflation. So I kind of thought about it, and maybe that's a little something about what the subtext is with interest rates going down and stock market going up, anticipating interest rates going down. I found it pretty interesting to think about, and that could be something to keep in mind and sort of guide our thoughts throughout the rest of this Fed economy interest rate discussion. Well, anyway, I hope that helps, or at least is interesting. This is Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart.